Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Antenna, your favorite show about shows. Dane Martinez.
What's going on?
I'm Nando DeFino. We have a Survivor 50. I wouldn't call it a shake-up. Well, Dane, let me start with this. On the show today, I think we're going to talk about, and you would jump in whenever you'd like, but like Aubrey's odds are down. Again, some odds are not going up on Kalshi, but on Polymarket, they're inching up a little bit more and more, like just slowly inching up.
Okay.
The actual show, and maybe you'll disagree with me, and maybe we should start here. But, we do the MVP and LVP. I just want to start with this. Was last night's twist finally a good twist in Survivor 50? All the rest of them seem so dumb and boring and pointless. This one was kind of cool, and it reminded me of those parties in college where you were handcuffed to someone and you had to drink like 12 beers between the two of you until you can get unhandcuffed.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I think you and I have both been planting the flag of the reason we love Survivor is the art of war of it all, the gameplay of it all, right? Yeah. Do we care that an idol is titled Billie Eilish? No. Do we care about Zach Brown spearfishing? No. But this was the first twist that complicated actual gameplay, right? And so, yeah, I was all about it. I thought there were a couple of things in this episode that I was all about from our gameplay kind of lens, right? The twist about being linked to the pair was awesome. They talked about it. It led to Chrissy trying to put Coach in timeout, which unfortunately was still unsuccessful. It led to kind of the idea of, well, I really want to get this person out, but they're tied to this person, so they're in my alliance, and I couldn't. Just like the different machinations of the strategy. So, yeah, I thought that was a good twist. I thought it was the first time it ever happened. And the other gameplay thing that I thought was awesome is Devens went for the fake idol at Tribal. Yeah. And like we had talked about this, like it was definitely going to come into play. They were teasing it on social media coming into it. And quite frankly, I think it worked because Devens and Aubry were on the block, right? There are a lot of people talking about that. And I think, him making that show of it was just enough to maybe throw a couple of votes off of them and onto Chrissy and Coach. So I really like this episode for a number of reasons. The pair twist, I think, to your point, was legit. They actually did the gameplay part of the fake idol at Tribal. And then I have some thoughts on Cirie as well and kind of her up and down and story. And I know you're big on her, but we can get into that a little bit.
I'm big on her at 19% to win it. I'm still not sold that she's going to win it, but like we bought at 10 and she's 19 now. And I think it'll get to like 67. You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm big. And also I love Cirie. Like I went from her like being like, oh my God, here we go again. She's on every show in the entire universe to being like, oh, but I see why I like her a lot.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And you're big on also who's getting a good edit, who's getting a bad edit. She is getting the best edit of all time. Yeah. I mean, her flipping over the coconuts and the flashbacks to, when she walked across the beam, stretching herself physically and how she was part of the biggest blind side with the kid Eric throwing giving the idol away and all that, right? And then when she gets back to the island, right? That conversation where Ozzy is like, oh my God, thank God for Cirie, because I would have gone the other way, but she was so brilliant. And then even Aubry saying, yo, Cirie has the ability to change the vote. And Rizo being like, yeah, we need Cirie. She's my cavalry, right? So to me, I appreciate the way you framed it because there's clearly energy behind Cirie in our conversation. She has gone up from 10 to 20, but quite frankly, because she is so well liked, because everyone sees her bona fides, shall we say, she's not going to win, man. So to me, it is about picking the right point to cash out on Cirie. I don't think she's going to win. They're going to eventually at some point, everybody's going to say, because eventually when we get down to
the jury's going to
love her. So
because Chrissy's in that, they're going to be like respect. And I think like, especially now, like the three that are in there right now, at least like D, I don't know. She's kind of a wild card to me, but like Ozzy and Chrissy, I could definitely see being like Cirie's earned this, like her lifetime record.
Absolutely. But that's exactly the reason you're already fast forward to final three. What I'm talking about is at, 5 or 6, the other people still playing against Cirie are going to be like, we can't allow Cirie to get to the final because of what you're talking about. The
Right.
jury will either love her, want to give her the Lifetime Achievement Award or whatever. And so we're at 11 right now. Once we get to, 5, 6, 7, the episodes like directly before the final tribal, I believe it is going to be common knowledge and everyone is going to start talking. We can't let Cirie get there because she will beat us at the end.
Right. But then again, all it takes is one well-played idol. So
fair, but I just think she will become such a huge social threat that there will definitely be energy to get her out. And so I think she's not going to win. And, from the kind of trader perspective on this, the best move is to find the window to cash out. She's at 20 right now.
yeah.
Will she get to 45? Cool. But as she continues to inch up, you're going to have to cut bait and cash out at the right moment, because I don't think she's actually winning.
So just to recap real quick, or to cap, Aubrey's down to 69% on Kalshi. These are the Kalshi numbers, and I'll jump over to Polymarket.
Yeah.
Because they got some interesting ones. I mean, they're kind of running side by side, but Aubrey's at 69. Cirie is currently at 20. We're taping this Thursday morning, 10:15 Eastern. Rizzo's 4. Joe Hunter is 3. And Jonathan is 3.
Yep.
Over on Polymarket, Aubry 69, Cirie 19, Rizzo 4, Jonathan 4, Joe 3, our guy Ozzy 2%.
Yeah.
Everyone else at 1. I mean, there are like some tiny things like Christian's 0.6, whereas Emily's 0.2, but like whatever. But Ozzy's getting Ozzy got $56,000 of a $1.1 million market, which isn't so bad.
I think with Ozzy, there's 2 things in his favor. One, I think in the edit, it showed that he's like, I even saw this on social media, being like, after 4 or 5 times and 20 years of playing, Ozzy's finally getting strategic, and that sort of thing. So I think that's one that's a positive, that he realizes just like, providing fish ain't going to cut it, dude. And the other thing is, I really believe that at this point, the most cohesive, dominant group Ozzy is a part of. And I think it's Ozzy, Cirie, Rizzo. I think that's the main 3 that are like sharing all the information, that are completely locked in. Ozzy, Cirie, and Rizzo. And then I think people like Tiff and Steph and Emily are part of their crew, but are the understudies, the numbers, right? The low men and women on that totem pole. But I think we're at 11. That's the dominant group.
I just worry like Game of Thrones style. Like I think the entire world, if you're like, who are the good guys? You're like, oh, it's Ozzy, Cirie, and Rizzo. You know what I mean? Like that just makes good TV to watch them just boom, 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 one by one. I just hope it's not soon. As a very just like a strictly greedy. Well, it's for good. It's good for the show too. For them to last longer and for their stock prices to keep going up, even if it's slowly. I mean, there's a lot of time left in the show. Sure. I would like to see it last, but it just worries me a little bit that like, I don't want to conflate rooting for a good edit with good gameplay. Right now, I don't think it's a problem because they have between them, they have an idol, an extra vote, and Rizzo has the boomerang, right? Like they have 2 idols and an extra vote.
Yeah. So. But also, I mean, let's just do the straight math. We're at 11.
Yeah.
We're at 11. And I just named 6 that I think are tied together.
Yeah.
That can dominate, with the main 3 being Rizzo, Cirie, Ozzy. But then in their crew can easily be Tiff, Stephanie, and Emily. And that's 6, and I think if they are smart enough, they can, clip off the Christians, the Jonathans, the Devens of the world and get to that next stage of the game. And let's play this out even further.
Yeah.
Once, let's say I'm completely right, then when that happens, the people like Steph, Emily, even Ozzy are going to be like, oh, snap, we got to get rid of Cirie.
Yeah. Yep. You're right.
So that's the path I see. And that's why what I'm looking for is, how can 50% plus 1 easily come together. And
Right.
when you have 11, you need 5 or 6. And I see a loose group of 5 or 6 that believe in each other. The idea, like the Devens, Joe, Jonathan, Hubicki kind of group, Aubrey even, they don't seem as, loosely connected as this 6 I'm talking about.
Let me ask you this. Well, actually, no, forget it. Let's move on to the MVP, LVP.
Sure.
Let's start with the LVP. And it's Jonathan for me again. I'm sick of Jonathan. That's all.
Yeah,
I liked him in his season. Now it just feels so like put on and grating and annoying, and this Mr. Jeff stuff. I can't anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. I think he's going to trying to have an evolution that is almost like part Ozzy, part coach, trying to be more strategic, trying to have a little bit more relationship-y, but it really, to your point, I think it was last week, how he tried to trigger D, right?
Yeah.
And he's trying to do some of that I don't think will ultimately work out for him. And then I just think he's burning bridges. Like, you don't really see him having any relationship with any females necessarily,
right?
And I think that's going to be, kind of a losing strategy. The only female he had any kind of talks with Chrissy, and now she's gone.
Yeah. Is he your LVP as well, or do you have someone else?
Yes, I think that
no
could
one really
be
fumbled. No one really fumbled this show, right? Like, it was such a weird gameplay getting handcuffed to someone too. Like,
Yeah, I agree. It would continue to be kind of, if we can't say coach because he was gone, on some level it was Chrissy also, because she tried to think that she could, put coach in timeout, or that
but what would you do? I mean, you're tied to this guy who everybody hates.
I think it was right, but I think she could have done it in a different way. And I think she kind of thought she was out over her skis as well. But for the people that are still live, I agree with you. Jonathan would be my LVP because, I'm already telling you the people I like. And then outside of that, everybody I think was just kind of like average or did things I would understand. Like Joe, I understood his moves. I thought it was interesting that Christian, who knew the idol plant was fake, did you see them real quick? Like after Devens goes and they're all whispering to each other, Christian was very clear to tell people, I'm still voting Devens, and he stopped short of like telling people it was a fake and I know it, but he was like, no, I'm still sticking with it. So that was interesting. But yeah, I don't have any other big LVPs. I'm with you. Jonathan is almost getting a little bit too cocky, big for his britches, a la coach.
Was your MVP Devens? I mean, it kind of has to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a great move. I thought that was really a great move. I would say the other one, I'm really starting to think that people sleep on Rizo at your own peril, man.
Well, they're not anymore, right? Chrissy tried to warn them all. She knew it. She figured it out.
Yeah, but like Rizo is, what he says to the camera is one thing, right? But like he is positioned himself as Cirie's number one, right? And that's going to get him real far. And I think that'll get him further than Cirie because everyone's going to be like, we got to get Cirie. And I think Rizo is, especially as a newcomer wild card that people don't know about, he, I think, is navigating it all really well. And he is the connective tissue to me. He's got the Cirie and Ozzy, right? But then he also continues to talk with Emily. That's really important to have so yes, my MVP would definitely be the Devens play, the fake idol. I think may have saved his bacon, but like Rizo continues to navigate it well.
You gonna go buy a shirt in the Riz God store?
The RIZGOD Riz God. I mean, he's also from the New York area, as am I. He's also like got the Albanian like come from nothing story. I respect that.
Yeah.
And like, he's a cool newcomer. A lot of these people have their Survivor legacies already. I think, 10 years from now, people are going to be like, Rizo is establishing himself as among the top tier. You know, even more than say Savannah, who won his season. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, right.
yeah. I'm with Rizzo.
Dan, you told me, and again, like today's Thursday. I think you told me Monday, like the markets already know again, right?
Yeah,
Like
they did. They did. They had Coach and Chrissy really high, and I got to tell you something. As soon as the twist was like they're gonna pair up, and I saw that Coach and Chrissy were in fact the pair, I was like, oh man, they're on it, you know, because it was as soon as you saw that you'd be voting out two, and it was the two that were working together. The first thing I did was like, oh, is it Coach and Chrissy together? And it was. I was like, yep, they're on it.
That's it.
We go back and forth. Last week it did not prove out to be true. This week it did, but we're getting down to 11. You know, it's crazy how quick, right? There was double elimination this week, blood moon, triple elimination, and they had to trim the fat real quick, and they found ways to do it. And now we're down to 11, so it's starting. I think it's going to start getting real interesting. There will be more fan stuff, and I am going to make a bold prediction. You are going to not like the fan stuff next week because I don't know if you saw in the coming attractions, Jeff Probst is active in the challenge.
Yeah,
they're
right.
making Jeff Probst do something, and like that'll be funny, that'll be different, but I don't think it'll impact pure gameplay.
Oh, dude, it's more Probst main character syndrome, which is, which could make the "what will Jeff say" market interesting. You know, to a degree, if you have that kind of setup, like kind of almost anything's on the table at that point. True. Dane, I was just looking this up. If you heard the typing in the background. Wednesday, May 20th is the 3-hour finale. And today is Thursday,
right around Memorial Day. Right before.
But I mean, like there are not a lot of episodes left.
How many weeks we got? Like 5?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's a 3-hour finale. Well, so I assume 2 of it is whatever, and the last hour
enter that episode with 5 or 6 left.
Let's see, 2026 calendar. Here's my 2020. I should know this off the top of my head, but I want to be sure. All right. So we're on April 16th. So there's an episode on the 22nd.
1.
An episode on the 29th.
2.
An episode on the 6th. An episode on the
3,
13th. And then
4.
the finale's on the 20th. So
right.
11. So, you can't go 11, 10, 9, 8. You know, that's where we're at.
I think there'll be another 2 double eliminations. Right? Because in 4 episodes, I think at most going into a 3-hour finale, they will have 5 people remaining because they got to get to 4, then they got to get to 3, then they got to do the whole big jury and all that stuff.
Well, I could see it being 6, go down to 5, fire making challenge.
Yeah. So to your point though, right? 4 episodes before the finale, they've got to lop off, in my opinion, 6 people, in your opinion, 5 people. So that means out of those 4 episodes, I think 2 of them will be double elimination.
Right. Maybe there's an evacuation. You know, sometimes that just slips in halfway, you know?
Some kind of medical thing.
And they've done things before where they have that elimination, like, 30 minminutes into the episode, the first one, which is like I think when it's very obvious, when everyone's like, we got to get this guy out. I don't remember which season that happened in, maybe like 38 or something. But there was like a very obvious, everyone was against this person and he was gone. We're going to do a quick tribal and dude was just gone. Everybody voted for him. Yeah. And then they went on to the rest of the episode with the drama.
I think what's most probably in play, especially with all this fan twist and all that stuff, is half of the episodes going forward are double elimination.
Yeah.
Which is a wrinkle, right? That is a strategic wrinkle that the players have not really had to deal with. And the way they do that, whether it's pairs, whether it's we split you up into 2 tribes of 5 and both tribes are going to council, that kind of thing. And that are the things that really mess with your ability to have a locked in group alliance, right? That's what I think is more likely.
In the notes, I'm going to skip your second to last one because we're gentlemen. But Emily starting to lead, I thought was interesting. In a way, I don't know how to read her at all, man. And I don't know, we need the Big Brother live feeds, which I never watched and I would never watch for this, but I'm sure someone could and be like, the edit Emily is getting belies the fact that she is, either blabbing every single thing to everybody, or she's been planting false stuff lately because she's been blabbing everything and everyone thinks she's just, telling the truth and letting secrets out. And now, like, part of her gameplay was I've established that, and now I'm going to start planting false information to my advantage. But I thought it was interesting that she was starting to lead a little bit.
Yeah, I think I think that is fair. And she's one of, like, they're talking about these quote unquote middle players a lot, right? And I think that she has carved out a role to kind of maybe be deftly in the middle, which can get you to the next stage.
It's so insulting to call them the middle players. Like,
right. I mean, listen,
like these are like legends of Survivor, and you're like, oh, they're just floaters, you know?
Sure.
Like,
I mean, I like
not us. Like, they're saying that on the show.
Yeah, of course. I like some of our 1%ers. I like our Emily at 1%. I like our Tiff at 1%. I know that you got Cirie at 10. She's up to 20. I'm on Rizo at 4. He's been hovering there, but I still feel good about it. Our No Aubry looks a lot better. We got No Aubry at 12. No Aubry is now at 31. So, I mean, that's really the biggest gain, right? Even your Cirie from 10 to 20, that's 2x. Our No Aubry going from 12 to 31 is like 2.5 times the percentage that we were at. So that
it just keeps going down. She just keeps going. It's like it's not a sharp decline. It's like every day 2% gets lopped off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think our 1% of Emily and Tiff are in a decent shape, because at some point they have to make all the 1% people, they've got to make them all 4%. Like, once we get to 8 people left on the show, right? Or something like that. And I do think, I do think we have some good ones. Like, I'd rather be holding Emily and Tiff right now than
Jonathan
Joe
and Joe
or Devens, to be honest.
Yeah. Devens that move was genius, man.
It really was.
I wonder if he thought of that like 3 years ago, and he's like, when I get back, this is what I'm going to do. Or did Christian come up with it? It was very unclear, like the genesis.
It was only able to happen because Christian still had like the wrapping. Yeah, to make it look real. Like, you can't just make one out of beads and string and arts and crafts and do it. He had the wrapping, and that's what I think inspired him to do it.
You could do it, just be like, it's the T-Pain idol, like
right.
Yeah.
But I think I think that was Devens' idea, and it only happened when Christian showed him that he still had the legitimate wrapping from the Billie Eilish.
Yeah. I did like how they were like, even when he was reluctant to show it, that should have set off some alarms, I think. And everyone should have still voted for him.
Yeah, and then he told Aubry, he was like, I have to take it from it for it to be active or whatever. So, like, he even came up with a good story there. Like,
I wonder if he's going to keep it going.
That was
like, or is it just going to be like a fool Joel?
Well, he can't, because Christian knows it's BS.
Yeah, but I don't know if Christian would keep that secret, though. Maybe.
If they're still on the same side of things.
I don't know. They have to be at this point, right? They have to be. They have no choice. There's a 3 and a 3, and then them.
You would think so. But I'm not so sure.
All right. Anyway, Dane, I haven't at all looked at what's Jeff gonna say stuff. I think maybe next week, maybe in between these shows, we'll take a look at it and discuss it a little bit, because I just think there's something kind of fun there, maybe, to root for on the side. Perhaps. But not right now. It's not open as we do this. So anyway, parting thoughts? Feel free to throw them out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the parting thought is, you got to find the right time on Cirie. I think she's they're building her up so much.
Yeah.
That there's no way she gets all the way through. But you were on it, man. And she was at 10 2 weeks later. She's at 20. That is why you listen to the antenna, and also why you got to go on over to the 7oracles.com. We are crushing it in terms of our videos, our podcasts, our newsletter, our tools. It is absolutely amazing. If you want to profit from these prediction markets, the 7oracles with the numeral 7.com is the place to be. Sign up for the free newsletter. And also, if you want to get a chance to kind of click around and find out, listen, we are giving you an incredible deal. Not 1, not 2, but 6 free months if you subscribe and use the promo code The7Oracles at checkout. And just think about it. 6 months from now, that means you have access to our tools through the NFL draft, through the NBA playoffs, through the World Cup. And our World Cup hub is absolutely ridiculous. And all the way through, whatever is going on with our current administration, which is obviously going to take, you talk about the turns in the Survivor season, is obviously going to take so many more turns going into the midterm elections. You're talking about California governor's races. I'm talking about country music sales. There is so much out there to take advantage of at the7oracles.com. You got to get down with us and join the prediction market Illuminati.
Yeah. On that note, good luck, everybody, with your possible buying and selling this week. We're sitting tight for the moment until Aubry keeps just chip. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on The Antenna.
The tribe has spoken.